coming up tonight on Lakeland News at 10.
Officials are saying Bemidji will never be the same again after assessing the damages from the storm over the weekend. That story is coming up next.
The Red Cross and several other entities are in Bemidji to help with both sheltering and recuperation efforts after the storm.
And we'll have an update on the storm damage at the Bemidji State University and Northwest Technical College campuses on this special edition of Lakeland News.
Production funding for Lakeland News is provided by First National Bank Bemidji, continuing their second century of service to the community. Member FDIC. CTC, Internet Phone and TV. CTC, connecting the community. Online at goctc.com.
Sourcewell, boosting student and community success right here in central Minnesota. mn.sourcewell.org. Closed captioning is sponsored in part by the Minnesota Department of Commerce Telecommunications Access Minnesota. And by Sanford Health. With primary care locations in Bemidji and across the upper Midwest, Sanford Health is committed to providing care close to home. Learn more at sanfordhealth.org. The weather is sponsored in part by Widseth, architects, engineers, environmental scientists, land surveyors, serving Minnesota communities since 1975. Sports on Lakeland News is sponsored in part by Paul Bunyan Communications, celebrating 10 years of the Gigazone, the all-fiber optic network that has transformed how we live and work.
Lakeland PBS is proud to present Lakeland News at 10. We're here for you with local news from Bemidji, Brainerd, and all of the Lakes Country. Dennis Wyman with the news, Stacy Christensen with the weather, and Charlie Yeager with your sports.
This was the scene early Saturday morning as a ferocious, severe thunderstorm barreled into the heart of Bemidji. And this was the scene in the aftermath of the storm. Miraculously, no one was injured from the storm itself, but damage to the area was extensive. Thousands of trees were downed, as were many electric poles. Countless homes and businesses suffered major damage, and almost the entire region went dark without power. Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. A state of emergency has been declared for the area, and tonight we have team coverage of the storm and the aftermath. Severe weather alerts were out for the area, and this is what the storm looked like on radar as it came into the Bemidji area. You can see the intense red and yellow centers over much of the area. Our reporters Matthew Freeman and Sydney Dick have been working this story since early Saturday morning. And we begin our team coverage tonight with Matthew live in studio, who has a look at the magnitude of damage the storm caused. Matthew?
Thank you, Dennis. After speaking with several city and Beltrami County officials, it is safe to say that the city of Bemidji will never look the same again. Residents of the area couldn't believe what they were seeing when they went to assess the damages. Thousands of residents throughout Beltrami County were met with tornado sirens in a notification early Saturday morning to seek shelter now, as dangerous winds started to sweep through the area.
As I was watching the velocity on the radar, and it just exploded, my heart sank because I knew what we were in for. And unfortunately, it happened.
The Bemidji Regional Airport initially reported a wind gust of 106 miles an hour, prompting the sirens. Those wind speeds grew to 120 miles an hour, though, as the heart of the storm made its way through the county.
Category 3 hurricane, that is just impressive.
We're getting those 100-mile-per-hour wind gusts here that was tracking from Trail and Griggs County and Steele County in North Dakota all the way across into the Bemidji area.
Despite the strong winds, officials believe no tornado touched down in the area.
We looked at basically all the trees going one direction, the garages that were blown, the roofs that were blown off, they were all in one direction. They were not containing any of those indicators that we could potentially have a quick little spin up within the storm itself. We've only seen straight line winds as the main damage out there.
As the winds began to die down, the number of calls to emergency services began to rise.
Bemidji Fire Department members responded to over 100 calls for service, and they varied from power lines down to gas line breaks, fires, car accidents, and so on and so forth.
One of their most significant calls was early Saturday morning of a reported explosion inside of a building not too far away from Sanford Health Bemidji.
This particular commercial building, which was heated by natural gas, experienced a leak and it was undetected. And as that building filled up with natural gas, we suspect that it hit an ignition source. So whether that be a furnace, a light, electricity, whatever, and it exploded. So accidental in nature. However, it's being investigated by the Minnesota State Fire Marshal's office.
Once the morning came, residents began assessing the damages to their property as well as the rest of the town and couldn't believe what they were seeing.
I probably witnessed 3 or 4 really bad storms in Bemidji, but this is by far, it covers the whole city. And even north, I haven't been south, but it's really terrible.
Trees down everywhere. Looks like the whole town got clear cut. Power lines down, driving around on sidewalks to avoid them in the middle of the road.
Despite the damage, so far there have been no injuries reported that are directly related to the storm, which officials say is nothing short of a miracle.
When I see not only no deaths but no injuries in my book, that too is an act of God.
I would describe it as shocking. The level of damage that we've had, the fact that nobody was hurt, roofs missing, garages completely imploded. Just looking at the north side of town with all of the roofs and everything that has just gone, it's nothing short of shocking that nobody got hurt.
One thing that officials claim will never change, though, is the sense of community throughout the city. As soon as the storm cleared, even through the dead of night, many residents came to the aid of those around them.
I've seen neighbors helping one another. I've seen total strangers come to town with chainsaws and just start cutting up trees to get people free from their homes and out of their driveways. So, that's the other thing I've seen in the middle of all of this is just the community come together and neighbors helping each other, and I'm really grateful for that. And I think that's part of what makes our community unique, and I think that's what makes Bemidji, Bemidji.
Despite the devastating destruction to the area, the iconic Paul and Babe statues in Paul Bunyan Park remained unscathed, showing that the people of Bemidji will stand tall no matter the odds stacked against them. Some areas are still inaccessible due to debris, and the extent of damage is still being assessed. County officials want to remind everyone that if you encounter downed power lines, stay away and assume they are charged. Back to you, Dennis.
Thank you, Matthew. And if you smell natural gas, call 911 as gas leaks are still being discovered. Well, meteorologists with the National Weather Service say it is extremely rare to have a storm possessing winds this strong.
We noticed the wind sensor at the Bemidji airport reported 107 mile per hour wind gust. That is extraordinary. I've been here for 5 years, have not seen that. Some of our forecasters here have been here for many years and have not seen that as well. So these do happen in the United States and around the world, but it's a rarity to see it at that magnitude, especially affecting that area up here in northern Minnesota.
After tracking the storm Friday night and into Saturday morning, National Weather Service meteorologists spent the day on Saturday assessing the damage and trying to determine whether this was a severe thunderstorm with straight-line winds or a tornado.
When we were investigating all the different damage and everything, just the sheer force of everything with the wind, I've never in my life seen that damage up close and personal like that, especially from straight-line winds. I've done tornado damage surveys, but I've never experienced a straight line wind event like this in a very, very long time. That was especially 100 mile per hour winds kind of thing. I honestly seen that damage itself was, oh my gosh, this looks like a category 2 or 2 hurricane that kind of ripped through almost because of how the trees were all damaged and everything. But it was just straight line winds. So we basically had hurricane force winds that ripped through the town of Bemidji. And unfortunately that caused severe damage.
Our team coverage of this storm continues now with reporter Sydney Dick, who has been gathering video and information since early Saturday morning. Sydney, tonight has a look at recovery efforts in the area.
Thank you, Dennis. And those recovery efforts started nearly immediately after the storm, with everything from handing out food and water to providing shelter to those without power or with damaged homes. One entity looking to kickstart those efforts and help get the community back on their feet is the Bemidji United Way.
We started this fund for disaster recovery and relief, and the fund, we're assessing with our partner agencies right now what are their needs, what are their clients' needs, and how can this fund support their work as we all recover from what just happened here.
The Disaster Relief Fund started off with a $15,000 contribution from the Northwest Minnesota Foundation, and the fund will also be open to public donation. Other relief efforts also came into town in the wake of the storm and set up at the Sanford Center in Bemidji, including the Red Cross and the Salvation Army, who came to bring food, water, and provide shelter for those in need.
And we're still going to be doing that going forward. Today, tomorrow, and Wednesday we'll do breakfast, lunch, dinner, but now we're closing at 6, so we won't have overnight.
The end of the overnight stays comes as more and more power is returned to the city, and the power outages affected more than just houses, as Sanford Health in Bemidji also had to spend 16 hours on backup generators, during which the steady stream of hospital and emergency room patients did not stop.
Weather-related injuries, a portion of those happen during the actual weather event. A significant portion can happen in the cleanup from the weather event, and so it's a good reminder for people to, if you're having trouble navigating through the cleanup at your homes, to certainly call for help. If you have down power lines, to make sure that you're calling the power company and not getting close to those. So we try to mitigate that second wave of potential weather-related injuries in the cleanup phase.
Right now, a lot of the needs that Community Resource Connections is seeing are based around elderly and or disabled, low-income people who really do need the help to be able to clean up their yards and their homes.
The full extent of the impact of the storm is not yet known, but recovery efforts will be going for the foreseeable future.
The fund is open, unitedwaybemidji.org /disaster-recovery. You can donate. If people want to volunteer, they can go to the website and click on volunteer and fill out our form, or they can call our office 444-8929. And if they have a need, calling Community Resource Connections will be important. Their number is 218-333-0880.
Emergency for Beltrami County was issued on Saturday, but in a special meeting earlier today, the county board extended that state of emergency for 30 days due to the extent of local damage. The new end date is at the end of July. Back to you, Dennis.
Thank you, Sydney. And more information regarding that state of emergency, as well as the next steps in the storm damage recovery process, will come out tomorrow, as Governor Tim Walz will be visiting Beltrami County to survey damage with other emergency managers and local officials. The storm left more than 50,000 people in the area without power. While significant progress has been made in restoring power, the task is a massive undertaking, and some homes could remain without electricity for several more days. Line crews from surrounding areas are in Bemidji helping local crews get electricity back to homes and businesses as soon as possible.
These crews are relentless. They would go without stop if we allowed them to do that. But of course, they have to hydrate, right? And they have to sleep. They have to take breaks. They wish they didn't have to, because they would love to just keep going to get the work done. We have them going, throughout the day, but we will at night say, all right, guys, it's time to stop. We got to go in and take some rest.
As of this afternoon, more than 5,000 in the area remain without power. Less than 1,000 are Beltrami Electric customers, and 4,500 are Otter Tail Power customers. Telecommunications companies like Midco and Paul Bunyan Communications also have workers in the field trying to restore their services to customers. Midco has overhead lines and suffered more damage, but Paul Bunyan has crews reacting to fiber lines being cut during repairs. Well, our team coverage of the storm continues now with Sports Director Charlie Yeager pitching in tonight and joining us live. Charlie has a story about a family still dealing with the damage of a tree that fell into their home.
Yes, Dennis, I've spoken to many residents around the area who've had near misses with trees falling around their houses, but on the northeast side of Lake Bemidji in Lavinia, the Hunt family had a tree fall into their bathroom, and one family member barely escaped with their life.
It's a mark from a 100-year storm.
It's hard to imagine what it's going to take to recover.
A 100-year-old tree blown over by 100-mile-per-hour winds. Emergency alerts rang out after midnight, but many were unaware of how severe the storm would become.
We had heard the siren, and I guess we didn't think it was going to be that bad, so we were still up on the second floor.
Donald Hunt Jr. was still securing windows and doors when the unthinkable happened.
I went and closed the window in the bathroom, and I didn't even have time to blink. I saw the tree coming towards the bathroom window.
He narrowly escaped the 100-foot-tall pine by jumping out the door and into the hallway, left with only a few cuts and bruises and one not-so-tall tail.
It's amazing because I was maybe 2 feet, 3 feet from where the tree came through onto the shower, but it was a moment that I'll never forget, and I'll be able to talk to you about forever.
Donald Hunt Sr. tried calling for medical help to check on his son, but it would never arrive.
They called back and said their ambulance had gone in the ditch before it even got off of the highway north of the bridge on the Mississippi.
The rest of the night was a blur for the Hunts, who sheltered in their basement while winds equivalent to a Category 3 hurricane ravaged their neighborhood.
It was piling things into bags, not sure what to save, what not to save versus human lives and getting out.
Sunrise brought to light the devastation. The view was unfamiliar.
You walk out of the house and you think, how on earth could this have happened here? I mean, there's no example of anything this magnitude.
It's one thing to see it on the news in Florida where there's just a few palm trees here and there, but you can look around the neighborhood and you used to not be able to see daylight through the trees, and it's all open space now. It's incredible.
Dawn Sr.'s grandson Soren described the scene exactly how an 8-year-old might.
I was thinking of Mufasa's mammoth graveyard, but instead of mammoths, trees.
So many trees that the Hunts have been unable to use a car to get provisions. Their house is a quarter-mile hike up Lady Slipper Court from Lavinia Avenue. The only access, a trail carved from fallen trees, some too big to move by hand. Despite this, and that they still have no electricity or running water, Don Sr. is keeping things in perspective.
The disaster is so dynamic in the community here that it's impossible to understand how all of the people that have been affected are dealing with it. You know, we had our problems here, but everybody was safe.
But one thing he can't keep in perspective is the forest in which he lives, a place that will never look the same again.
No, it never will. These trees, that one that came down, the arborist told me was 100 years old. Well, it'll be 100 years till we see another one like it.
Luckily for the Hunts, they have family that lives nearby and has been able to get them food, water, supplies, and more importantly, are working on finding a way to clear the road so they can finally get mobile. Back to you, Dennis.
All right, thank you very much, Charlie. As cleanup efforts continue, the city of Bemidji is strongly encouraging residents and businesses to avoid being scammed by using only tree service providers who are cleared through the city. People doing storm-related work should contact Ben Hine with the city of Bemidji at 218-239-0103 to get cleared. City officials say the process is quick and ensures safe, authorized work in the community. The city has already compiled a list of more than a dozen tree removal service providers that have been cleared by the city. You can find that list of approved providers on the Bemidji Chamber of Commerce Facebook site. The Bemidji Police Department says the removal service provider should be licensed and that in the past they have had fake companies ask for 50% of the cleanup fee up front and then never come back to do the work.
Still to come on Lakeland News at 10.
Well, we have thankfully seen quieter weather to start the week. One more quiet day. We could see some more showers and maybe a few thunderstorms around midweek. Thankfully, nothing severe anticipated. I'll have more on your forecast in a few minutes.
But up next, we'll have an update on the storm damage at the Bemidji State University and Northwest Technical College campuses.
And now, more news with Dennis Wyman.
Several areas in and around Bemidji were hit extremely hard by the storm, including the east side of Lake Bemidji, Diamond Point Park, and Bemidji State University and Northwest Technical College. Both campuses will remain closed through Wednesday, June 25th, as work continues as they continue to assess extensive storm damage and prepare for a safe and secure return to campus. The school's president, Dr. John Hoffman, said in a message to students, faculty, and staff that they sustained serious damage to the campus. He said that their facilities and public safety teams are, quote, tirelessly and humbly working in overdrive to remove fallen trees and debris. He calls the damage widespread and devastating and asks that people stay away from the campus until further messaging is relayed. Many parks in the area were damaged by the storm, and Lake Bemidji State Park announced today that due to the storm damage they received there, the park will be closed to the public until 4 p.m. on Friday. Mail service in the Bemidji area has also been impacted by the storm. The United States Postal Service says retail services at the Bemidji Post Office have been temporarily suspended. Postal officials also say delivery services are limited as they assess conditions and prioritize the safety of their employees and customers. Well, as we mentioned earlier, there were no injuries or deaths from the Bemidji storm, but that wasn't the case near Enderlin, North Dakota, where 2 tornadoes, including an EF3 tornado, hit during the night on early Saturday morning. Now, this is video from the doorbell camera from a couple living in that city as the first twister, the EF3, approached from the east. It was on the ground for 12 miles with peak winds estimated at 160 miles per hour. 3 people died as a result of the tornadoes. The first tornado was about 3 miles south of Enderlin, and the second about 3 miles south-northeast of the city. Well, the Lakeland PBS Vacation Giveaway is back this summer, and this year, once again, we're giving away a 3-night stay at Cragun's Resort near Brainerd. Here are tonight's 5 potential qualifiers. If you see your name, call the number on the screen before the end of the next business day. That'll be Tuesday, and you'll have a shot at being our 2025 Cragun's Vacation Grand Prize winner. We announced that winner in a live drawing on Monday, August 25th. Time for weather. Stacy's here. Stacy, time to look forward with this forecast.
Yes, and thankfully a lot quieter. We've had quiet and cooler weather today. Certainly at least something small to recover from the storms this weekend. We will have quiet weather again tomorrow. There are chances of showers and thunderstorms around midweek, but at this point we're not anticipating anything in the severe range. So we'll take a look at your forecast in a few minutes.
And now, the weather with Stacy Christensen.
Well, it was a quiet and cooler day across the area today. Temperatures much cooler than the heat and humidity we experienced over the weekend. We are expecting quiet weather again tomorrow. Some nice, comfortable temperatures once again. Chances of showers and maybe a few thunderstorms return as we head into the middle part of the week. Nothing severe, however, is anticipated. Right now in Bemidji, it's 59 degrees at the airport. At our studio, winds are northwest at 7 miles per hour, and we have a dew point of 47. In Brainerd, clear sky is 68 degrees. 50 is our dew point, and winds are northwest at 7 miles per hour. On the radar, other than a few puffy clouds, it has been quiet across northern and central Minnesota today. We expect to see mostly clear skies tonight and a lot of sunshine throughout the area tomorrow. But once again, temperatures are going to be very comfortable with highs mainly in the 70s across our viewing area. We do have some weather shots to share with you tonight. We did have a little bit of rain from Samrose over Lower Red Lake. The flowers are in bloom from Laurie at Little Turtle Lake, Sandy in Black Duck, and Joan in LaPorte. Stephanie seeing her first monarch chrysalis in the Brainerd area today. Arlene in Monaga with a butterfly she spotted in the yard. Gary with a couple of swans swimming on the lake, and Angela with this beautiful sunset in Cass Lake. So thank you all for sharing those with us tonight. For our Eagle Eye reports, we have heard from a few of our Eagle Eyes tonight. Arlene in Monaga, 60 and windy this morning. Sandy in Black Duck reporting 78 and clear skies this evening. Arlene in Longville, a mix of clouds and sunshine today, just a little bit of rain early on. Bob in Bluffton, sunny today. The high was 72. We also heard from Stephanie in Brainerd with a high temperature of 77. Joan in LaPorte, mostly sunny but breezy today. And Angela at Cass Lake, sunny with a high of 74. As far as our almanac goes, today in Brainerd, we topped out at 84. That was at midnight tonight. Temperatures today have been much more comfortable than that. Our average is 79. We had a low today of 63. And Bemidji reaching a high of 72. Our low was 58. Sunset at 9:21. Here's our forecast for tomorrow. It's going to start out with pretty clear skies, a few puffy clouds here and there. And in fact, we'll have mostly clear skies as we head through the day. A lot of sunshine anticipated, comfortable temperatures once again. We should have high temperatures in the mid 70s, maybe a few upper 70s in northern Minnesota. And in the central part of the state, we are also looking at mid to maybe some upper 70s. So here's our forecast. Mostly clear skies tonight, lows near 48 with variable winds at 5 to 15. And tomorrow, sunny skies, mid 70s for our highs with variable winds still at about 5 to 15. Looking at our extended forecast, there is a chance of some showers and even a few thunderstorms around midweek. Not anticipating any severe weather. High temperatures will continue to reach the 70s, maybe even some upper 60s on Thursday. And then as we head into the weekend, temperatures start to warm up once again, and highs will be back in the 80s through Saturday, about 80 on Sunday, and we may see a few showers and thunderstorms this weekend. Back to you.
Thanks, Stacy. Charlie's now back for sports, abbreviated version tonight, looking at some of the damage to the sports fields.
Yeah, it hardly feels right to be talking about sports, but as we said, there was some damage to the sports fields as well. We took a look around the city, and I'll let you know a little bit more about what happened to those facilities coming up after the break.
And now, your local sports with Charlie Yeager.
Well, over the weekend, there was lots of damage done around Bemidji on the athletic fields in a couple different places. We're going to show you a little bit of that right now. This out at the softball and baseball fields across from Bemidji Middle School. The batting cages decimated. You can see here the dugout, the top of the dugout roof blown all the way across the field and into the outfield fence. That's how powerful the winds were. Also, you have some bleachers toppled over into the backstops at the baseball fields. Just unbelievable damage. Over at BSU, the batting cage, the backstop completely bent, and the snack shack completely destroyed as well, just flattened. The turtle flipped over, and the bullpen was decimated as well. We have a lot more video, and we'll get a chance to talk to some of the people that are in charge of those athletic facilities a little bit later on in the week.
Yeah, a lot of recovering to do in many areas around the city.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we'll keep you updated there.
Yeah.
We do have time to go back to Stacy for one last look at our weather.
And we should be seeing pretty quiet weather overnight tonight. Mostly clear skies. We're looking at low temperatures dropping to about 48, variable winds at 5 to 15. A lot of sunshine throughout the area tomorrow. Highs should reach about 76. Still looking at variable winds around 5 to 15. Chances of showers and even a few thunderstorms return around midweek. Nothing severe anticipated with those, but we could be seeing a few of those here and there with otherwise variable clouds. Highs mainly in the 70s. Could be a little bit cooler there on Thursday. And then as we head into the weekend, we will start to see temperatures warming up once again, highs in the 80s, and we do have some chances of showers and thunderstorms as we head through the weekend.
All right, and our coverage of the recovery for the city of Bemidji will continue tomorrow. Good night.
Good night.
Funding for Lakeland News is provided in part by Otter Tail Power Company. Selecting energy-efficient technologies can connect us to a better, smarter home and help us save more energy than ever before. Otter Tail Power Company. Hearing Wellness Center, locally owned and operated with locations in Bemidji, Duluth, and Superior, Wisconsin, featuring the region's only tinnitus treatment center and specializing in holistic hearing care. Let us help you hear well. More at hearwellnorth.com. The Bemidji Regional Airport, serving the region with daily flights to Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport. More information is available online at bemidjiairport.org. And the members of Lakeland PBS. Thank you.